professor in Baroda University, said the Muslims of Gujarat asked the Hindus of Gujarat for forgiveness for events that happened in Godhra, but nowhere did he say that the events that actually there was guilt on any side. So it was that. So I was delighted. So I followed up with a column. And I said, look, Narendra Modi, look, this is what could happen. You could actually heal the wounds of Gujarat and achieve closure and become in the process a possible successor to Lal Krishna Advani. But alas, he did not follow that, and we still have the situation that we have in Gujarat, and certainly Narendra Modi is no candidate for being a national leader. Now I must tell you, we have a distinguished judge on the here on stage, and the liberals. There were people like Tista Setalvad and all who were very upset by my column, and they said that how dare you suggest this forgiveness? He has to pay. We must have retribution. In a liberal society, retributive justice is part of the law. And so don't try to push things under the carpet. So there was another point of view, and people of the legal profession had that reaction. Anyway, I'm just telling you, and of course, you know, I'm telling you the parts that are much more contemporary, but in my book I go back and forth between the Mahabharata and these events as they unfold. Let me quickly give you one or two more examples. Everybody's favorite character in the Mahabharata is Karna. And a great figure, a tragic figure. But what interests me about Karna is his status anxiety. You know, he was floated down the river by Kunti, who was embarrassed that she was ashamed, and so then he's picked up in the river by Adhiratha, who is a charioteer, an OBC. And he's picked up and he's brought up as a charioteer's son. And one of the things, of course, he all his life desperately wants to be treated like a Kshatriya. And he's, of course, got tremendous martial qualities, but he is not treated like a Kshatriya. Some of you may remember that there is a scene with Draupadi. He goes to Draupadi's Swayamvara, and at the Swayamvar, he lifts the bow and he hits the target, the only one to do it. And Draupadi says, I won't marry a Sutaputra, a charioteer's son. Status anxiety is very, very, it's again another universal problem that we all have as human beings. We all want to be somebody. We don't want to be a nobody. When you walk into this room, you want people to smile at you, recognize you, and if they look right through you, you feel terrible. That's the problem. The unfortunate thing is that our esteem, our self-esteem is dependent, is held hostage to the opinion of others. We are always worried what others will be thinking of us. My aunt once said that if you wouldn't worry so much what others think of you, if you realized that they seldom do. that they seldom do. They're worried about what others are thinking of them, rather than worrying about what they think of you. So this is a very old problem. And we know how snobs can hurt people, hurt us. Because snobs are mainly concerned with where you fit in, what your status is. And another great work of literature, Jane Austen, has got terrific thinking about status, anxiety, and what's that novel? Mansfield Park. The family, the Bertrams, what an awful family they are. Their only concern in life is to know what is your position. Yeah. And then how should they treat you. Okay. Anyway, that universal quality made me realize that the pain that Karna goes through in the epic, and frankly, it's in our current, I was thinking in our current political scene, the example that came to my mind was something that happened while I was also working on the Mahabharata, on this book, and that is the murder of Pramod Mahajan, the BJP leader, by his brother Praveen Mahajan. When the police officer who was investigating the murder asked Praveen Mahajan, "But why did you kill your brother?" Praveen Mahajan said, "He ignored me. He said that I came into the room, he was reading the newspaper, I said hello, and he kept reading the newspaper." And of course the whole thing had been building up because Pramod Mahajan was a national figure. In fact, he would have been the one who would have replaced Lal Krishna Advani today. So anyway, it's a dangerous business. It's a dangerous business, status anxiety. Let me give you the last example, and then I'll stop. And this is the example at the end of the war in the Mahabharata. Yudhishthir feels enormous remorse for what has happened. He feels personally responsible. And remorse is different from grief. And the example that, the way I at least try to explain this, is the way Bernard Williams, the philosopher, did. That there's a car on the road, I'm the driver, he is the passenger. The car hits a child. It's not the fault of the driver that the child dies. The passenger feels grief. Oh, it's too bad, what happened? The driver feels remorse, and probably for the rest of his life. Now, at that point, at that time, Benazir Bhutto was assassinated in Pakistan. And I was writing that chapter. And I raised the question in my Sunday column in the Times. I said there was a lot of grief in Pakistan, but there was no remorse. And why was there no remorse? And I tried to find an answer. And the following day, I got an email from, of all people, Rahul Gandhi. By the way, who is one of those persons who does use email quite avidly. And he said, you know, I thought this was an interesting discussion, but let me give you my thought. And he says that when you have remorse, you identify with the victim.